Labour in heat, Rayner urged Chancellor Rachel Reeves to impose a punitive pension raid, targeting retired Britons, according to a leaked document that has now been published in full. The explosive memo, described as a secretive 10-point plan, was reportedly delivered to Reeves just days before her spring statement, but its proposals were entirely ignored in her final budget. The Deputy Prime Minister called for a dramatic reversal of Jeremy Hunt's policy that abolished the pension's lifetime allowance. Under Rayner's plan, higher taxes would once again apply once private pension pots reached a certain threshold. The proposals, which aim to shift more of the tax burden onto the wealthy and financial institutions, have reignited speculation that Rayner is positioning herself as a potential rival to Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer. The memo, first reported in part by The Telegraph and now released in full, includes recommendations designed to boost public revenue without raising taxes on working families. It insists that the measures would be popular, prudent, and would not raise taxes on working people. However, some of the ideas, particularly those involving pensions and child benefit, have been labelled by critics as politically risky and potentially alienating for older voters and middle-income households. Among Rayner's key recommendations was the call to bring back strict limits on the total value private pensions can reach before facing heavy taxation. She argued that Jeremy Hunt's decision to abolish the lifetime allowance benefited only the wealthiest retirees, and reversing it would restore fairness in the tax system. Other proposals focused on reforming tax reliefs and closing legal loopholes. Rayner suggested increasing the surcharge on bank profits and removing inheritance tax relief for unlisted shares traded on the alternative investment market. She also called for eliminating the dividend allowance, meaning that all dividend income would be fully taxable. The Deputy PM's plan included freezing the threshold for the highest rate of income tax, which would prevent it from increasing with inflation. This measure, she argued, would ensure high earners continue to contribute more, especially in times of fiscal strain. In a bid to curb property tax avoidance, Rayner proposed ending a common loophole in commercial property sales. Some sellers currently avoid stamp duty by placing properties in offshore companies and selling the company's shares instead of the asset itself. According to the memo, closing this loophole would create a fairer and more transparent system. She also suggested aligning dividend tax rates with standard income tax rates, aiming to eliminate the advantage currently enjoyed by those receiving income from investments rather than wages. On the issue of child benefit, Rayner recommended reversing recent changes that had eased clawback rules for higher income households. She urged Reeves to restore tighter restrictions on benefit eligibility, ensuring that families with higher earnings do not receive support intended for those in greater need. Perhaps most controversially, the memo included a proposal to tighten migrant access to the welfare system. Rayner recommended restricting non-EU migrants who have gained indefinite leave to remain from accessing certain taxpayer-funded benefits. The suggestion appears aimed at addressing concerns over public spending but is likely to trigger fierce debate over fairness and integration policy. The leaked plan and its timing have only added to speculation that Rayner is seeking to assert a distinct political identity within Labour's upper ranks. Her willingness to present bold, redistributive tax policies, at odds with Reeves' more cautious approach, has led to suggestions that she is being positioned as a viable leadership alternative. Despite the Chancellor's decision to exclude all of Rayner's proposals from her so-called emergency budget, political observers believe the ideas could re-emerge at future fiscal events. The divide between Labour centrist and progressive wings, while often kept behind closed doors, is increasingly becoming visible.